How is it possible that you can love someone so much who has also told you that they love you, only to be completely discarded, and now they're acting like the relationship never even happened? Going through a rough patch or a breakup with an avoidant person can completely traumatize people. I mean, you will never be the same after a relationship or a breakup with someone like that. And I know this because after my avoidant partner dumped me, I was never the same. Back when I was younger and very unsuspecting, I was in a relationship that I was thoroughly enjoying with a guy that I found out later was a dismissive avoidant. We had known each other for a while. We were dating for about 5 months. He took me out for Valentine's Day and showed me the time of my life right before he told me he loved me. After that night, it was like I was listening to every love song that Pandora had. I was completely walking on air. And then 2 weeks later, he got really quiet and really distant. And when I asked him what was wrong, he told me he didn't feel the same way anymore. He wasn't ready for a commitment. He wasn't ready for a relationship, and he needed some space. And that space turned into a breakup that lasted way longer than it should have, because this came as such a shock to me. I couldn't let go. How could this person who told me they loved me just discard me and all of a sudden treat me like I was a coworker in their text messages? Going through relationship struggles like this changes you forever. You're never the same, and I know this because even years later, even after coming out on the other side and living a very happy life, I still felt the need to start this channel to try to help girls get through their dating struggles and try to keep them from getting in these kinds of situations that have people completely hopeless. I see people in the comments of relationship channels all the time, and it's really devastating what breakups like this do to people. They're in the comments talking about, oh, this is why I don't people anymore. This is why I don't talk to anybody anymore. This is why I won't open myself up to a relationship anymore. And I totally get that, because the pain it's like nothing else you will ever experience. You actually feel like you're dying. And when I got dumped seemingly out of nowhere, I felt like I was dying too. And I understand that's confusing because the thumbnail says that I got dumped by an avoidant and it was the best day ever. And trust me, it definitely was. And I will go into why that is. But first, grab a bottle of nail polish and let's talk. If you clicked on this video because you are trying so hard to get your avoidant ex back, then I would argue maybe it's not the time for you to get your ex back. Maybe it's time for you to get yourself back. What is it in you that's trying to get someone back in your life who has rejected you? And every fiber of your being might be screaming back, no, but that's not true. They didn't reject me. They're just scared. They didn't reject me. I know that they loved me. I believe you. I believe that they loved you, just like to this day, I believe that that avoidant man loved me. I also believe that he just couldn't do it, because that's the whole thing about avoidance. He had a past experience that scared him to death, probably traumatized him in relationships, and because of that, even though he loved me, even though they loved you, they cannot do it. I also believe there's nothing I ever could have done that would have changed the outcome in that situation, because I could have been anybody. There was nothing that I did wrong, regardless of what the avoidant tells themselves, because that's what they do. They get close to you and then their brain gets scared and they start to pick you apart to give themselves excuses to distance themselves. Oh, this is why we need to break up. And it's so convenient. It's so easy because we're all human. Nobody's perfect. It's so easy for them to just start going down that list. Oh, this is why we can't be together. This is why we can't be together. But I want you to know that they would have done it to anybody. The guy that did it to me, he did it to me. He would have done it to anybody. And he still does it to everybody. Because to this day, now that man is in his 50s. And we were friends before we dated. We have remained friendly. I wouldn't call us friends. But no hard feelings, none at all. But I can see how to this day, he's still alone. They just can't do it. And it has nothing to do with who you are. And that's the key to it, is the distance. Because while we can empathize with people, it does not mean we need to continuously expose ourselves to be treated like we are less than. And I learned this, so I was so distraught by this breakup. I had no idea what happened. It seemed to come out of nowhere. And it didn't come out of nowhere because it was something that was coming since this gentleman had been born. I mean, the breakup was inevitable. But to me, I'd never experienced anything like this. And I called a relationship coach, and let me save you the money and tell you exactly what this relationship coach told me. He explained to me about avoidance, and he explained to me that this man, avoidants seem like they have no feelings, they have no heart, they are cold as ice. But the reason why he's avoidant is because something inside of him is very vulnerable, and he feels his feelings harder than anybody. But the coach also explained to me that that wasn't my problem. That this man, in his words, this is verbatim, this is him, not me, he was acting like a douche, and I needed to get away from him. And that relationship coach was not wrong. And goodness knows, ladies, when we are extremely empathetic people, and now you think I got off the phone with that relationship coach and I just, snapped my fingers and just listened to him? No, I had a lot of attachment problems. So what I did is started to go online and read books and started reading all about avoidant attachments to try to understand and empathize with him. And the problem when we are so empathetic is, in an unhealthy way, we begin to make a lot of excuses for the other person. Oh, it's okay if he blows me off on a date. He was mistreated as a child. Oh, it's okay if I text him and he doesn't text me back. He's just scared of his love for me. Please do not go down this rabbit hole where you begin to research all these things and then it's, oh, I can get this person back, or I can have this person in my life. I just need to change all of my behaviors and be more understanding for them. I was on a website once where a woman was talking about, she was actually encouraging anxious and avoidant people to stay together in a relationship. They just needed to make space for each other. Well, I personally believe that making space for someone means that you are understanding of who they are. I do not believe that making space for someone means that you sign up to be treated like a jerk every day. So this lady was on a website and she was talking about one of the ways that she deals with having an avoidant partner is when she is upset about something and they're shutting down, she goes in her room and screams into a pillow. Is this what you want for your life? Screaming into a pillow in order to deal with the man that you love is not the solution. And I know this because I used to have a very, very toxic work environment with a girl who was incredibly emotionally abusive to her staff. And every day after work, I gripped my steering wheel of my car as hard as I could, and I would scream, just let out a scream the entire way home. Now, I guess technically it did help me deal. At the end of the day, it helped me blow off steam because of my work environment. But when I look back at that work environment, instead of being like, oh, look, I learned all of these coping strategies, I should have quit, because no one needs to subject themselves to that kind of emotional turmoil every single day, and you certainly do not deserve it either. So yeah, definitely empathize with the avoidant person in your life. You know what? They deserve love just as much as you do. All I'm saying is that if you become too empathetic to the point that you give them an excuse to treat you poorly, and then you mix that with an attachment wound because you have abandonment issues, you are setting yourself up to drink a toxic cocktail every single day that will eat away at your brain for years. And the platitudes make you feel even worse. Everyone says it happened for a reason. If it was meant to be, it would be. Guess they're just not the person for you. Every breakup is a chance to learn something. And yeah, I definitely took the reins on that and learned way more about relationships than I probably would have ever learned in my entire life if I hadn't gone through that experience. But if I was able to go back in time and make the biggest specialist Christmas wish, I would wish that I had already known these things in the first place, so I could have kept myself out of a situation where I didn't see the red flags, because he did give me red flags. One of them being he was, I don't know, probably pushing 40 at that time, and he had already told me he'd never been able to be in a relationship past 6 months. And I never saw that. I naively just Never realized what a huge red flag that was, but I know now. And if you are interested in learning how to navigate your dating world with a healthier, happier mindset so you can experience less pain and more laughter in your love life, then please subscribe. Share this video with a girl who you know is going through a rough breakup, because God knows I wish I had known these things years ago. So with all these negative things that I have to say about my experience, how was the avoidant partner breaking up with me the best day of my life? I'll tell you. About a week ago, I was at the park with my family. The weather was gorgeous. It was a beautiful day and we were having a great time. And suddenly I saw a ghost. We were walking down the sidewalk and a man was walking towards us, and I swear he was the doppelganger. I knew it wasn't him because he no longer lives around here, but I had to look twice. It looked just like him. And my brain all of a sudden did this thing where it made a connection, and it was like, you always wonder what if with exes, right? And my brain said, what if you had been here with him today? And without skipping a beat, the other side of my brain came back and was like, oh my gosh, that would have been awful. Because there's no way it ever would have been a bright, breezy, fun day at the park. It would have been all about them and their emotions and how they feel. Maybe we wouldn't have even been able to go over the park that day. And then I have to worry about, if they showed up to the park and we had a great day together, well, oh well, because now the next day they're gonna be super cold and distant. And that's definitely one of those signs, isn't it? You start to feel like you can't even have fun with them because you know you're about to experience pain with them. If you're having a really hard time walking away from an avoidant partner or walking away from a breakup with an avoidant partner, think about taking that person 20 years from now to the park. Think about if you have kids together. Think about being there with them and how their behavior is now going to be affecting how your children have relationships in the future, because they're probably not going to be healthy ones. And when you become a parent, you want the healthiest, happiest life for your children. And I know that that never would have happened if I had tried to stay in that cycle of anxious, avoidant, push, pull, get through the breakup, try to fix them. Oh my Lord. Every day's a battle. And that. I don't like to swear on this channel, but seriously. And that's why to this day, absolutely no hard feelings, but I don't ever go out of my way to communicate with him, ever. I don't talk to him. I wish him all the happiness in the world. I hope someday he gets over it. But I'm also so glad that I am not the person who helped him get over it. I'm glad I wasn't his fixer. If you are really struggling and you're open to it, please leave a comment down below, either warning other girls to walk away from relationships like this and be okay with it, or please share a struggle that you're going through right now. And I allow all my comments. If your comment doesn't show up, YouTube's doing that. I would never get on a video with you and say, hey, don't get into a relationship with someone who plays hot and cold, and then ignore your comment. If you are going through a struggle and you don't see your comments show up, I do have a public platform that you can post on. It's called Welcome to the Other Half. It's a public group. I'll put the link in the description down below. I hope this breakup does not cause you to go down the dark route of watching YouTube channels and making comments about how you can just never be in a relationship ever again. I hope that you can really internalize that the issue that you're having with an avoidant partner is not about you. You're the one who's willing to communicate, and there are other people out there in this world looking for relationships who also want to communicate. When something is wrong, they want to talk to you about it. That kind of relationship is going to be so much healthier for you. And I promise you, when you come out on the other side of this breakup, you will finally be able to get together with your friends and toast some champagne and say, bottoms up, by ILNP. My name is Maria Adriana. You did not have to live my life, but I certainly hope you can learn something from it. As always, thank you for visiting. The Other Half.